One of my burps has never gotten that much laughter before.
But it was a great burp, Manjo. Manjo, it was dynamite. Welcome back.
Welcome back, listeners. Another segment.
Feeling good, having a great time. It's a Sunday evening, and I'm with...
Feeling all right.
Well, listeners, we do that because the three of us in the room conducting this podcast, we are three jam friends, and we cannot emphasize how important that is to have some jam friends in your life.
If at all possible,
if
yeah.
possible.
Well, and that's the one thing talking with Todd about that I never really got clarification on, because we talked about intention, and that was good, and we talked about forgiveness, which is amazing, and that was good. He didn't really get back to me on my question about creativity. I think it's an essential part of human life. You got to have a creative outlet. And mine, thankfully, is through music. Some people, it's through art or writing or any number of other things.
We're kind of going into the recovery steps that they give to them. Where's the creativity step? There's the forgiveness.
Well, yeah, I just kind of wanted to get his take on how important is that. Because, he was like, intention is very important. And he totally enlightened us on that.
He came back to choice a lot. You're making the choice to be an addict every day. But also he gave wonderful ways to objectify this addiction when it enters your life again, and identify this thing as an object and tools to work, to help you work against it, to help you get away from it.
You are not your thoughts, and which is essentially what Byron Katie says. You are not your thoughts. You have a thought. It's just a thought. It's a story. Thoughts fall like rain. You didn't ask to have that thought. You didn't sit there and say, I'm going to have this thought now. No, that thought just kind of fell, and either you grabbed onto it or you say, oh, I'm going to put that in the bubble, because that's one of those bullies, as Todd would say.
Identify it.
Yeah, and then you question it. Is it true? Do I absolutely know that that's true?
Am I incapable? Am I...
Am I powerless?
Is that bubble bigger than my capabilities to overcome it? Is that true? It was pretty cool what he said, DoJoe. It was really cool.
It was interesting.
And it wasn't so much addiction related. It was just life coaching related.
Yeah, because we also related it to how our country has post-traumatic stress now after all these shootings. And my daughter experienced it, extreme anxiety last year when they were having an active shooter drill. And it's going to happen again this year. She's definitely going to experience some anxiety. I'm hoping she now has the tools to question those thoughts and say, okay, I'm safe. Everything's okay. It's just a drill.
Yeah, and Todd had a wonderful, thoughtful, well-articulated response to every question we gave him. Every time we came at him with some
very
angle.
Very sharp individual.
He has been studying these things for many years, and it showed.
So he didn't mention creativity, though.
No, we need to have him back for that.
Creativity, as it's associated to addiction, you got to look at some people that have used addiction to fuel their creativity, whether it's Jim Morrison or Vincent van Gogh or
Amy Winehouse,
Stephen King.
I mean, the numbers and
Stevie Ray Vaughan
examples go on and on and on.
Yeah.
No, let's do 5 more. I'll bet between the three of us, we can do 5 more. We already did 4 right there. We can do 5 more.
Oh, you can do a dozen. You can do hundreds.
Top of your head, you can.
Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, there's 2.
Elvis Presley, maybe.
Yes, at the end. Yes, Michael Jackson. We only need 1 more now, gentlemen. We only need 1 more, and we are well under the time constraint that is placed on us.
God, telling you, I use it as a crutch, and sometimes in those jams, I need to get a little liquored up before I can really let loose and really show you guys what I can do on the guitar. Otherwise, I might go over there, blink, blink, blink. It takes a beer or 2 to get this liquid courage. It's undeniable. It helps you get over some of those humps, those roadblocks.
And dude, you were a great engine last night. It was wonderful. What a great jam.
It was fun.
Great jam.
I'm glad I came.
Yeah, see, what you're saying, though, is I use creativity as my crutch to get me through dark times. And
yeah, sure.
It keeps me focused and centered, and I try and have it at all times, whether I'm taking advantage of somebody else's creativity because I listen to music nonstop all day, or if I'm
encyclopedia
building something, or if I'm painting something, or if I'm designing something, or figuring out how I'm going to do something at a house or whatever. It's creativity is what keeps my mind focused and keeps me not thinking about shit that I don't want to think about. Because there's days where you wake up and it's almost like there's a cold, dark cloud and it's going to follow you wherever you go. And the trick, I think, is to not listen to those thoughts when they enter your head, and also to find something that's going to distract you from them, so that when you're done with whatever it was that you chose to be creative about and you come back to that dark thought, it's not nearly as ominous as it was before you went off on your little day trip.
Peaceful thoughts. That's what I just heard. Peaceful thoughts. Dude, if you could contract what you just said, make it smaller, you could earn a living the way that our friend Todd does. That's essentially what he was saying. The uplifting, the happy, positive thoughts, and get rid of the bad ones. Identify, objectify, and get rid of the bad ones.
But I also think you have to focus on some of the bad ones in order to learn from them, because there's a lesson to be taught in that shit. If you've done somebody wrong and that's what's making you feel bad,
fair enough.
You might want to spend some time thinking about
Well,
that.
yeah, I think it's important to take responsibility for your choices and your actions. Absolutely. But that's where we talked about forgiveness at length. He said one of the most powerful things he got of AA, and he's not a huge AA fan, but one of the most powerful things he got out of that is amends, making amends to those you've hurt.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, because a grudge is the heaviest thing you're ever going to carry.
Yeah.
And when he was saying that, amends, it reminded me of Seinfeld. Do you guys remember the episode of Seinfeld?
Enlighten me.
It was about amends.
Remind me.
Do you remember, DoJoe? When George Costanza was all upset because the guy wouldn't apologize to him. Step 9. Step 9.
That's why you knew what step it was. I was like impressed. I was like, what? How does he know what step that is?
It was Seinfeld. Entirely
that's
Seinfeld.
hilarious.
I saw that, Manjo. Thank you. Thank you. You never apologized to me, did you? Well, I didn't want your rather oversized head stretching out the neck hole of my finely knit sweater. You know, I think I got it pretty close there, didn't I? DoJoe?
You usually get it right on.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is. You can go through days without making any sense. As soon as it's pertaining to Seinfeld, you can quote it verbatim. All of season 9.
I swear he's seen every episode 5 times.
Manjo, you gave me another compliment too. DoJoe, I take that as a compliment and thank you. And you gave me another one the other day. You called me a quote master. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I love
take
your Mark
pride.
Twain quotes. I swear I got to study
Thank
that
you.
man some
Thank
more,
you.
because I think he's just one of the most fascinating characters in American history. Mark Twain.
Well, you mentioned Mark Twain first. I appreciate that because now I can segue into DoJoe.
Okay.
DoJoe once told me a story, and this was not that many years ago. This is maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where some person was being interviewed. I don't know if it was an NBA basketball player or a politician, actor. I don't know. But this person was asked, "Who's your favorite comedian?" And this person responded,
Yeah.
"Mark Twain is my
Absolutely.
favorite comedian." Who was that,
Wow.
DoJoe?
I don't recall, but it's
You don't?
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And
And that happened recently?
It was a couple years.
Okay.
It's been
Well, that's very
2,
recently.
3, 4 years ago. Not long.
It was a
No.
professional sports athlete.
I want to say it was an NBA basketball player,
It
DoJoe.
was. I think
want to say it was.
Mark Twain, prior to writing Tom Sawyer, did stand-up comedy. That's what
Get out.
he did. That was he did it. He was he toured doing stand-up comedy.
I disagree, DoJoe. He didn't do stand-up comedy.
Okay,
No.
he did a what?
Lectures. He
Okay.
gave,
Oh.
and not just in
Well-
America, worldwide. He went and delivered lectures. That was
They were
not stand-up
lectures.
comedy.
They were
but
lectures.
Well, that's
these
just it.
lectures could be funny as
Exactly,
fuck.
and probably the majority of them, if not
People
all of
weren't
them, were.
showing up just to listen to him talk. They were showing up to laugh.
Laugh and laugh and
Because he
yeah.
had that gift of perspective. One of his my favorite quotes, and you probably know it, is where he talks about being informed and misinformed.
Oh, not sure. Help me.
If you don't read the news, you're uninformed. But if you read the news, you're misinformed.
Misinformed.
Something like that. Mark Twain.
Lines,
yeah, something along those lines. All those years ago, and nothing has changed. It's still the same.
Same. I think George Carlin took up the mantle next.
He kind of did.
From Mark Twain.
Really? That's a pretty big gap.
He said,
eat, bite, suck, fuck, gobble, nibble, chew. 69 assholes.
finger fuck screw.
Marker.
Yes, there's a marker there. Eat, bite, fuck, suck, gobble, nibble, chew. Is that it?
Yeah.
What's the next?
69 asshole.
Finger fuck screw. Yeah, for you from Minnesota, don't know that one, do you? You don't know that one. That's that's a Brownlee. That's a Brownlee right there.
No, his was 7 dirty words, wasn't that?
George Carlin.
That was Carlin, but was that Brownlee's version of it we just did?
No, he did 7 different dirty words, entirely different dirty words. It was not eat, bite, fuck, suck, gobble, nibble, chew, finger, fuck, hair pie, gobble, nip, chew. I think I did. I get them all. Did I get the music there?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, man. This is all new to me, man.
See? Yeah.
You are very patient and cool to sit with us during this. Thank you, Man Show. Thank you. Very cool.
Is that rice in that bowl over there?
What bowl? Yeah.
That bowl.
No, that's a hash browns.
Not the one in your hand.
That's what I thought you were talking about. One of my favorite moments from one of the previous podcasts was when we were talking about Mojo Studio and all this and how we might want to get cameras in here one day, blah, blah, blah. And DoJoe picks up this, I'd hate for them to miss this empty jar of peanut butter. That was so fucking funny.
I remember that.
Mojo was like, hey, it makes me happy, man. What is it? It's comfort food.
And it wasn't empty either. There was
Wasn't it?
There was still plenty of peanut butter left in there.
I was going to say, my mom never put peanut butter in the fridge. I mean, it was always in the cupboard,
Don't need to.
Adams, yeah.
At least not the stuff we ate, the Skippy and all that, but the stuff my wife buys, the natural stuff where you got to mix it.
Yeah, that's got to go in the fridge.
You
Yeah.
got to go in the fridge.
Is it Adams?
I think we've
DoJoe
tried
said?
at least one of those. Yeah, but she was.
I like
definitely-
them. I like them.
It's
They're
good.
pretty
It's
good. They are.
That's
They're
good.
really-
It's just a
I've
pain
been-
in the butt to mix. Is
I like it on
It
a
is.
banana more than I do bread, though.
Interesting.
Banana and bread. Is
I
pretty
never
good
got
too.
into banana and peanut butter, but I used to like peanut butter on like a celery stick. That would work for
combo.
me.
Yeah.
Good combo.
It is.
Peanut butter and banana is a great combo.
But peanut
And a
butter-
glass of water, or a glass of milk or water, right there.
I'm a milk guy. Oh, dudes. One of the things, here's a story.
Here we go.
One of the things I hate about being over 50, I've always been a big fan of milk, right? And sometimes I just kind of crave it. So like just the other night, I was like feeling like I couldn't get rid of this thirst, and I had a glass of milk, and I said, oh, that was good. I think I'll have a bowl of ice cream. So I had a bowl of ice crean. I said, oh, you know what goes good after you have a bowl of ice cream? A glass of milk. So I had another glass of milk. Dude, about an hour before I was supposed to get up, my innards were just like cramping and just bloated, and the gas was trying to
Bloated.
go through sideways. And I was like, oh, Pain City, man. I'm not going to do that again for a while.
Yeah, dude,
I will do it again, but not for a while.
Well, yeah, I'm going to quit drinking, but I'm going to start again for sure. Absolutely. DoJoe, making a move?
I'm just getting over here and,
Oh, bring your mic closer. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Where were you
It's
on the
been
night
fun,
in
man.
question?
We've had good tempo tonight.
I want to
Good
ask you
tempo.
guys about milk. What's your relationship with milk like? You know mine now. It's tentative. It's I got to be careful.
Always been positive.
If I drink it, I got to make sure I have food with it, and I can't be too much. But I can still drink it, and I can still eat ice cream, but I've got to be careful.
If I'm pouring milk in cereal or I'm pouring it into a recipe or a casserole, I'm always pleased with milk. And how about you,
Casserole. When was the last time you made a casserole?
I buy those little.
Hamburger helper?
No meat necessary though. Just the little noodle things, just the noodles and some butter. Yeah, you got to put milk in those things. You you got to have half a cup of milk. And I do a lot of that shit.
I don't think mac and cheese counts.
So you guys don't just pour yourself a glass of milk.
Fuck.
I
no.
do, yes.
You don't
I
have
do,
a glass of
yes.
milk and a cookie.
Wait,
Oh,
no, I make
No,
waffles.
I don't
I
eat
have a
cookies.
waffle maker.
glass of milk and a cookie from Costco, those chocolate chip ones. Oh,
Big ones,
so
really big
flipping
ones.
good, yeah.
No, I make waffles. Lots of butter, lots of syrup, and then I put the cup in the freezer for like a minute while the waffle's cooking.
Wow.
So that when I pull that cup out,
That's high.
when you pour the milk in, it is extra cold. It is freezing cold.
Yeah.
Have those first 3 bites of waffle, and then drink half a frozen cup of milk, and that's heaven.
That's heaven.
That's
man.
some good
That's
shit.
some good stuff.
That's-
Okay. So you got a little love affair with milk going on too.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
I
But
haven't-
DoJoe?
I haven't drank a glass of milk in 30 years.
Wow.
No way. No
Wow. How do you figure you get your calcium though, and that kind of thing?
Ice cream.
Oh, ice cream. Yeah.
Cheese. I'll eat
There you
the
go. There you
hell
go.
out of
Yeah, I
cheese.
like cheese a lot too.
I buy at Smith's. They have all kinds of high-end cheese.
Our Smiths recently upgraded their cheese selection. It's been pretty good.
Have you ever done Mizithra on pasta?
Well,
with
Spaghetti
browned butter?
Factory. Spaghetti
That's
Factory.
what I'm talking about.
That
That's
name
the
has
best.
a mystical part to me. Mizithra is a
Homer.
mystical
Homer ate it
thing.
when he wrote the Iliad.
Really?
That's what they say on the trolley square or the
It is,
Spaghetti
yeah.
Factory
That's
menu.
where I learned it. I make it on my own now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool, dude.
can buy
Where did it come from?
Chunk
Where's Mizithra from?
I would say
DoJoe?
Italy, Rome. Hell,
Is it a white cheese, a yellow cheese?
it's white.
a-
It's very. It's a dry cheese. If
Yeah.
you grate it, it comes off.
It's like a Parmesan.
Oh,
kind of.
it
Yeah.
shreds then
Yeah.
very quickly,
Yes.
very
Yeah.
easily.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, and you got to brown the butter to put it on the pasta, and then you throw that Mizithra there.
This is
but
a
you
good
got to have a
fucking
red
podcast.
I
sauce
want
right
to.
there.
I just have to do this. So, excuse me for doing this, but I want to give a shout out to the Spaghetti Factory. Oh my gosh, I'm sure
They've
they're
done well.
I'm
They've
sure
done
they're
well.
all
Yeah.
over. But if you haven't been to the Spaghetti Factory, do yourself a favor and go. Don't expect too much now. It's a simple restaurant, but nowhere else will you get Mizithra and brown butter. Nowhere else will you get a clam sauce that's just delectable
Manager's favorite.
and good every single time I've
And you
ever
get
been.
this-
Tour of
Pomoni.
Italy. Tour of Italy.
Tour of Italy
Yeah.
was usually what I get, yes. But sometimes I just want clam sauce, man.
So I ask you,
Where else
listeners,
can you get clam sauce like that?
Is
Nowhere.
there a better Italian restaurant in Utah, just Utah, not America, just Utah, that can show us Mizithra and clam sauce and these wonderful
Well,
things?
exactly.
Is there a better one in Utah?
I don't think so. I mean, I've eaten at the Macaroni Grill many times. I've never seen clam sauce
And
or
it's pretty good.
Mizithra.
I like the macaroni
them.
grill.
I like them.
the food there.
They're
I do.
fancier
Yeah.
than Spaghetti Factory for sure, but they don't have those two items, and those are two of my favorite items. Olive Garden, similar thing. I love Olive Garden. I go there quite often. I've never seen Mizithra or clam sauce on their menu.
Yeah,
So shout out to Spaghetti
they do
Factory.
a good job, and it's cheap.
It's cheap. You'll
Damn cheap.
it's reasonable.
DoJoe is a chef. Manjo, and
I did not know that. about
yeah,
DoJoe.
I'm anxious and happy that I can give you a further insight, another bit of insight into my relationship with DoJoe. Has been hanging at his house for a long time. We've been friends for 20, 30 years, and he loves to put some noodles boiling on the stove and start chopping up something and start grating some cheese and getting some sauce going and give it a try. Give it a try. I'm not saying he knows every time that it's going to be a winner, but he enjoyed the effort. He
Yeah,
enjoyed what it takes to, and it takes effort to do this stuff and cook for not just me and him, but like 6 people who are in the room at just after midnight, and we're gonna have a big pasta dish. And DoJoe takes care of it. He serves us all a big bowl of pasta.
Yeah, back in the day, we did. I have a kitchen again. We'll do that again once I get. Now we can walk into the place, so I'll have to go over again.
You must have bought a fixer-upper and a half, man.
I got to bring you over. You have no idea.
I want to see before and after shots, man.
I didn't take any before.
Oh, man.
No, as soon as you walk in, will see the before in your head.
Okay.
The before will be there, especially out front. The entire front yard
It's
looks
concrete now, right?
Yeah, but it looked like the surface of Mars.
Oh.
The last time I was there, like a month and a half ago, it was the surface of Mars. I couldn't believe it. I had to step up 4 feet to get it to step into his front door. Yep. 4 feet. I had to step up 3 to 4 feet to get into his front door.
Get into the front door. Wow. And the thing is, I'm so smart that right before I did all this, I put really nice hardwood flooring so you could take all that dirt and plant it right on the hardwood flooring.
Yep.
But that's just how I think renovation goes that way.
I've
moved a staircase into the garage. So now there's no stairs in the house. In order to get downstairs, you got to go into
the garage. You do to get to the bed. Well, no, you can go around the back.
You can go around the side.
back, and the sliding glass doors in the backyard.
Trailer park cars go around the outside.
Man, Joe, we found a new and better Shy Joe. Right?
Oh, wow.
And not to disparage Shy Joe.
Yeah,
not at all.
No. It's good to have DoJoe on the show, though. That's awesome, man. Funny stuff. Good stuff.
Tomorrow's going to be a epic day. Great day.
It's Monday.
Now, Todd would applaud you. He'd say, way to go. That's how you start out your days.
That's how I
4
do it.
o'clock in the morning, you get up and you pop up like a piece of toast, right?
Yeah.
And you say, it's going to be a great day.
I'll go 2:30. I'll go 2 more hours. I'm a 6:30.
Oh, that's not
6:30,
bad. That's way earlier than I ever get up.
And I lay
well,
in
when
bed
school starts, I'll get up that early. But
and think.
yeah. And what do you think about?
Why is tomorrow going to be such a
Do you
great
form
day?
your intentions? Yeah. What's going on?
I figure out the day, the big things. I learned this thing from this guy when I was working. That used to be a CEO for the company that I work for. He came up with this Big 5 deal. And it's the only thing. He was a hot mess as a CEO, but the Big 5 stuck with me. And all you do is you pick 5 things that you're going to do that day, and if you don't get all 5 done, you don't feel bad about it. Right. You just have to do. Say, for instance, you got 3 of them done. The next 2 go to the next day, and then you add to them. So you say, I've got 5 to do today. I got 3 done today. The 2 go over, and so you add 3 to the 5, and so you have your Big 5. You got your 5 things that got to get done, and if they don't get done, you don't feel bad about it. You just work towards them.
Todd said something similar, didn't he?
Yeah,
some
that's
things
not
to
bad.
Get done
that's not
for
bad.
the day.
Yeah, I think we'll have to listen back. I can't remember
we gotta listen to it
specifically what
again.
he said,
Gotta listen
but
again.
I kind of do that to a degree. I mean, I know I got to work most days, but then it's like, what is there a podcast
I do enough
that
to make sure the
night? Is
paycheck
there-
keeps coming in, and I do enough to
But
make
then-
sure that I can still make the payments.
Then in my case, I got to check in with the wife and see what's on her list for me.
Well, yeah.
You know.
See, yeah.
And so
And
then my big 5 kind of becomes a big 3, and
big
then
15.
and then it's a matter of whether or not one of her things is going to take priority over one of my things, which it often does.
It does, yeah.
Well, and think also, how could we help Todd increase his business? Remember how he said a couple of times tonight that he's at capacity. He's got a backlog.
I don't remember him saying that, but I am looking forward to his book. I mean, he's going to be touching so many more lives with that book. I mean,
he wrote 4. He wrote 4.
He's already got books out there that
Yeah.
you can find him online.
His new one's
Amazon.
coming out. Yeah.
He's got a new one coming out, but he's already got others. I thought this was his first.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, my goodness. Go look him up, people.
Yeah.
He's got a backlog. You may not be able to get an appointment with him, but hey, his stuff is out there.
I think Mojo should write a book. Have you read some of the things he's written down?
I have not, but we've talked about writing songs and screenplays, but I didn't know he was a book writer.
He has no business writing songs. He has a business writing books.
Wow, I didn't know this about
DoJoe.
you, Mojo.
Thank you, DoJoe.
He can.
No wonder he was like up for writing a screenplay. He knows he's got that in his back pocket, eh? We need to get started on this idea.
Maybe something.
Yeah.
Some project would be cool. Would be cool. Thank you, DoJoe.
Would be good at it.
I did not know this. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Yeah, he's good at that. The sentence structure is always perfect.
Well, I couldn't write anything if I didn't keep hanging out with DoJoe and YJoe and Main Joe. And
Is
Tech
DoJoe
Joe
your
and-
muse?
I have many.
I know. I hear you.
do.
I
You
hear
can't-
you.
You can't extract. There's so many unique characters that, if nothing else, you do everybody a service by putting their into words that last for a little while.
Yeah.
You could do it.
So
They're
what's the
gonna stick.
screenplay we're gonna write, man? The three of us could write a kick-ass screenplay. I really
Yeah,
believe that.
yeah. I want
Weird
to write a
thoughts, you know?
screenplay with my friends that involves time travel surrounding
Oh, perfect.
windows. You don't actually travel through time, but you get a window that shows you what happened back in time. Please imagine that such
I
a
like
when
this.
exists
I like
when
this.
O.J. murdered Nicole Brown Simpson.
I like this.
Somehow we found a way to open a window to
Yes.
let us see what happened. We don't travel back in time.
Right.
We just see
can
what
see
happened
it.
back in time.
I like this, dude. There was
This might work.
There was a Star Trek episode that had something similar to that, and well, they could take these little. It was a library. You remember that episode where they had this weird librarian, and he could take this card and stick it in this machine, and it would show this window. But they could go into the window, but we don't have to make it that way. But it's along the same lines, though.
I think it also alleviates a lot of problems with time travel movies. We're not traveling back in time. We're just seeing.
And that's enough, dude. I think
it might
you have
be.
something
We could.
here. I think you have
DoJoe
something here.
dragged his mic closer. I think he has something to say. Do you
No,
remember what it was?
I was
Do you
just
remember what it was?
I was just happy.
He's
to
just
listen.
he's just a professional podcaster. You gotta get that mic up there,
Fist,
man.
one fist,
One
man.
fist,
One
man.
fist.
For the love of God. No, that wasn't.
May I ask your opinion, gentlemen, one more time? I hate to stay on it. The movie would be called Windows. It would be called Windows, and it means we can open a window into history.
No.
Not the future.
No.
Not the future.
No.
It has to be a different title.
Yep. Microsoft would sue us in a heartbeat, dude.
That's good business.
Unless they sponsored us and helped finance the fucking movie.
Now we're talking.
Like, how many movies do you see that little Apple symbol? You know they're paying bucks to be in that movie.
And they own Pixar, don't they? Doesn't Apple own Pixar?
Yeah, who knows? Probably. I don't know.
What do you think, DoJoe? A movie called Windows.
I like the idea of going back and being able to see things.
Just see, though. Just see.
Yeah. How big would the window be? Would it be projected?
We already kinda
Would it
have
be
that.
on the computer. We'd have to work out these details. But yeah, I could definitely. I think it's a great premise.
Thank you.
I love the idea. The soundtrack would have to be pretty.
Oh, yeah, that's where DoJoe comes in right there. He gets the DoJoe.
You know what I love? Tell me if you guys love this or hate this. Is when they do these westerns and these other movies, and they have this kick-ass soundtrack. Like one of my favorite movies. It shouldn't be my favorite movie, but it kind of is. Is A Knight's Tale. Where they're doing that jousting, and they've got this amazing soundtrack, and it's just kick-ass.
Yep.
I love that movie.
I like that movie for Heath Ledger. I enjoyed
he's very
I enjoyed
good.
him
Yes,
in
he
that
was
movie.
very good, yeah.
The music, I do not remember one bit of that.
I just remember
And
it
I'm
being
very
kick-ass.
surprised.
I don't remember what songs specifically. It was just cool because it was, they're jousting, but it's it was awesome.
Yeah. The soundtracks, a great soundtrack to a movie is. Have you
critical.
Have you heard the soundtrack to American Beauty?
I know that movie extremely
Is
well.
that the one
No,
with
I
what's his
don't.
face?
It's with Kevin
Kevin
Spacey.
Spacey.
Yes. One of my
Yeah.
favorite movies, but I don't remember the soundtrack.
The
Annette Bening was
soundtrack
wonderful.
is probably the best since Risky Business.
Wow.
It's absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
Business with
Risky
Tangerine-
Business was totally good. Yeah,
Tangerine
absolutely.
Dream. That's the sex scene with him and Mournier.
Old
what's
Town
her
Rock.
name?
Oh, yeah,
Rebecca
The
de
hot-
Mournier. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Rebecca? No,
Well, I'm
the
pretty
hot
sure.
cheerleader. The hot cheerleader.
No,
gal,
the girl,
friend.
Rebecca
the
de Mournier.
prostitute, the girl that mentored him.
Oh, Risky Business.
Yes,
Rebecca de Mournier.
Yes,
Yeah,
she's
that
amazing.
sex scene in
the train.
On the train, that's a band. That's an orchestra called I think it's Tangerine Dream, and it's
heard of them, I think.
fucking intense
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
It's
very good.
and all of it complete with
Bob Seger. And,
No, it's what's that?
I think of something else.
That bass. Anyway, that blues.
Oh yeah. When he put on the glasses and he's suiting up,
Everything gonna be all right. No, it's eluded me because I've had.
yeah, I'm gonna look up that soundtrack. So American Beauty soundtrack, Risky
American-
Business
do the
soundtrack.
American Beauty soundtrack.
I want to look up the Knight's Tale soundtrack because I remember the music being awesome.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack I have in my car right now that I'm listening to. Tell me if you guys say yay or nay or like you don't even remember it. So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
It's one of the finest films ever made.
I love
It's one of
that
the
film.
best films ever-
Move there. It's like a watermelon on a toothpick.
Even that little
Go
ditty
cry
he
yourself to sleep on your wee pillow.
does. You wee fella. Great movie. Yeah, good soundtrack.
Fucking great
I'm
movie.
trying to think of another movie that I just had it in my tip of my tongue. The soundtrack for.
You ever see Tropic Thunder? You guys ever see Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, I wasn't
fuck,
a big
man.
fan.
No,
yeah,
really? Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I own it, and I'm not a fan.
Even Tom Cruise's performance in that.
I don't
didn't?
can't remember
It's a
that he
great
was in
acting
it.
performance. I didn't laugh like you guys did,
Fair
and I've
enough,
seen
fair
it
enough.
3 times with you.
How about that movie Phenomena with John Travolta? That soundtrack I thought was pretty good.
Phenomena.
Phenomenon. Where he
haven't.
had
I'll try it.
he had that brain tumor and he
Yeah.
got to the point
Okay.
where he could like move things with his
Yeah.
mind.
Okay,
Spoiler
I'll
alert.
try it.
Okay, yeah.
On Pandora. No, it's not Pandora. On Sirius XM, you could get soundtracks. The entire platform of the channel is movie soundtracks,
Wow.
and it leads you to some.
Interesting stuff out there.
There are a lot of artists that have almost backed out entirely of producing albums. Brian Eno, who did a ton of work with everybody from David Bowie to Pink Floyd. He does nothing but soundtracks, and all those other Beck does a ton with that Moby. I don't know if you.
I love Moby.
Moby does nothing but soundtracks anymore.
Born Identity.
Yeah, that's all Moby. Yeah.
That's Moby.
Yep, and he does it. Basically, there's a lot of money in doing soundtracks.
Absolutely.
So they don't really do albums anymore. Although
Interesting.
Moby
Wow.
has a great new album out.
Does he really? I'll have
Yeah.
to look it up.
It's probably, I shouldn't say new. It's probably 5 years old.
Well, for me, that would be new. I used to, back in the day, I used to be a pretty big Moby fan. I even used to go to when the internet was young, he was one of the few people that had a forum,
Yeah.
and he would just let his fans talk and chat on his forum, and he
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
One of the first social media presences.
Pretty much, yeah. He was ahead of his time in that way, I think. And I
Yeah.
used to go there quite often to
I
see
saw
what
him
people
recently.
were talking.
Moby, M-O-B-Y. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
He was on Bill Maher. Do you guys watch? Bill
I do.
Maher?
I think I do remember seeing him there. Yeah,
recently.
Recently,
you know?
yeah.
And he reminds me very much of the guest we had tonight, Todd, where he gave up the partying. Moby gave up the drinking and everything that was
funny.
there. And it's
A lot of them do that.
I didn't even realize he had a problem. I mean, I said, I was a fairly big Moby fan for a while, and I didn't even realize he had an issue with that kind of stuff. But,
James Hetfield's dry. Lead singer for Metallica.
oh, I'm not familiar.
Hetfield. I don't
James
know.
Hetfield.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
either.
been
I'm not a
dry
big fan or
for
anything.
10 years. You're not a Metallica fan?
No.
Wow.
Not either. I'm not either.
Yeah.
DoJoe.
Well,
Not either.
once you hear the soundtrack for Phenomena, is it Phenomena?
Well, I remember the movie you talked about with John Travolta, and I
Yeah.
have no idea of the soundtrack at all.
But yeah,
the
but
movie
it's
wasn't bad.
a pretty mellow soundtrack. See, I'm a pretty mellow guy. I like softer
I listen
rock,
to spa
upbeat
music
stuff.
90% of the time.
No way.
Spa music?
Yeah.
Spa.
Spa or classical.
Interesting.
I have to in order to keep myself on a road.
Yes. This man loves heavy metal music, and I would even say thrash metal.
Wow.
But also loves disco, 70s
fuck yeah, I
disco
love
music.
disco. Fuck
The
yeah.
Bee Gees. He loves it.
My sisters love the Bee Gees. I never got too into them.
It's an amazing thing.
I'm a
and
fan of
I've tried myself.
Hall & Oates. So I recently tried to look up another pioneer of the internet was Daryl Hall. He had a show called Daryl's House or Hall's House or something like that.
Dinner at Daryl's.
Yeah,
or something
early
like
in the day, he had like megastars on. They would just come out to his house in the boondocks somewhere, and they would just jam, dude. And they would do their own songs. They'd do his songs, and it was amazing. They had Smokey Robinson on. And
CeeLo Green.
CeeLo Green's a good one, yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
That's
And it
cool.
was so fun. And I recently tried to go look up that Smokey Robinson episode that I remember seeing, and it's not really there anymore. You can
Really?
find clips on YouTube, kind of, but the actual website that he ran,
Yeah.
I couldn't find it. It's not there.
I think he protects that stuff pretty hardcore. Like
Maybe.
a lot of those artists do.
But it's hard
May I
to
ask
keep
who
your
you guys are
it's hard to
talking
keep your
about?
server
I'm
up.
lost.
Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Okay. Is that
Daryl
who you-
Hall mainly.
Yeah,
John
well,
Oates
yeah.
was-
Thank
well,
you.
he was,
Thank
but they
you.
started together though.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it was
Dinner
was
at
it-
Daryl's or whatever was.
But yeah, this was after the internet came out and he'd been retired for a while, hadn't been doing much, but this really kind of relaunched him in a way.
It did. He's an amazing musician, and he
And
had
songwriter.
some heavy
Oh, my goodness.
musicians.
Yeah.
Oh, his songwriting's off the charts.
Yeah.
Did you see the one where he has Todd Rundgren on it?
Can't say
They record it in Hawaii at Todd Rundgren's house.
Oh, yeah.
And are you very familiar with his music?
No.
I don't want to work.
Sing it. Come on.
I want to bang on these drums all day. You're not familiar with that?
No.
You're not familiar with
Is this Hall & Oates we're talking?
That's
No,
Todd
Todd
Rundgren. Todd
Rundgren. Todd
Forgive me.
Rundgren.
Forgive me, listeners. Forgive me.
Todd Rundgren.
He's got some other stuff. If you don't know that one, and he's got a lot of other really strong songs. Todd Rundgren.
I can't even say that his name sounds familiar to me.
I know the name. I don't know him as well as DoJoe does, though. I know that for a fact. He knows the name Maynard. What does the name Maynard mean to you when it comes to rock and roll? What is the name
Rock and
Maynard?
roll? Nothing. Absolutely
Really?
nothing.
Okay,
Maynard?
it means the band Tool for me.
Yeah.
Am I correct, DoJoe?
Oh, absolutely.
Maynard.
I've heard Tool, but I couldn't tell you a song they do.
I couldn't either. Joe, I couldn't do that either, but I did go to a concert.
I never got into Tool, Korn, Ozzy.
I went to
all
a
that
concert
super hard
with them.
stuff.
I went to a concert with them because they're my friends, and I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure they remember that I'm their friend. And I did not enjoy the Tool concert at all, not one bit. But I admire this man Maynard. I admire him for creativity, for diversifying and getting into many different fields and many different aspects of life. And I admire that guy. I could not name one other member of the band of Tool, not one. And I went to the concert at the Maverick Center.
Wow.
DoJoe, please take over, and please start.
let me
Please
just-
start with your
Yes,
your praise, your incredible praise of
Maynard James
Tool,
Keenan?
of the band Tool.
Maynard
Enlighten
James
us.
Keenan. He went to. He was a graduate. No, I think he actually dropped out. No, he was a graduate of West Point, and then did his 3 years at West Point, and then his 3 years of
Where
his
did he start
tour.
music? Where did that come in?
That came in with Tool after he finished up with his.
He started Tool then. He started it. They didn't
Well,
approach him. He
if
started
I'm not
Tool.
mistaken, he started it with Danny Carey, the drummer, and they within 3 weeks of coming together, they put out a song called "Sober," which, as a Tool fan, it's
You
important.
fans will know it. You fans will know it.
But he's since then he's the lead singer for 3 different bands: Pussifer, Perfect Circle, and Tool. And he also is he owns a winery, puts out great wine,
Yes.
and all of it in addition to he just started a food truck that is
he on it? Is he cooking on it?
No, no.
Okay, fair enough.
No.
Yeah. I mean, the dude's probably worth $100 million.
I don't know what he's worth.
He started an incredibly influential rock band. He owns a winery, and the man, I will consider him a poet. The guy is a poet, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. All you got to do is listen to the song. Well, look at what they did with the Fibonacci sequence. They wrote a song to the Fibonacci sequence, and it's off the charts.
Listeners,
it's not
please
perfect.
check that out, because that's the first with me, and I'm a math guy. I've never heard that before. Check it out, because I'm gonna check that out.
Absolutely. 46 and 2, which is the spiral and the genetic code. He does so many great things with the way he writes music. And in addition to the way that all of the musicians, I don't know if Danny Carey's classically trained, but the other two are classically trained, classical musicians. And I'm preaching to the choir, and anybody that's a Tool fan is going to be offended by what I'm saying.
If they know more than you, yeah, they'll be offended. If they don't know as much as you, then
all I can say is I'm a big fan, and if I'm stupid on what they're saying and on what they've done,
my friend DoJoe, he's a big fan of the band Tool.
That's my favorite band.
When did they start? What year did they first publish DoJoe? Do you know?
I would say they came out in 98.
98?
It was when they first, I would guess 98. Maybe, no, I'd say 98.
I went to the concert with you guys in, what, 2004?
2008.
8? Was it that far? Yeah, you're right. It was about that time. You're right.
2008.
Only a decade ago.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't put out an album in 13 years. They just have one coming out on August 30th. Fear Fear.
You already know the name?
Inocuum.
Fear Inocuum. Say again, please.
Fear Inocuum. I believe that's the name. I'm pretty sure it's Fear Inocuum. It's 10 tracks, 91 minutes. Comes out on the 30th. They've already released their first album, their first song on it. It's a compilation of all of their, I think, in listening to it, all of their previous music is in it in various different riffs, 10 minutes long. And it's based on the movie The Shining.
Man, Joe, how about you and I get together here one night with DoJoe and watch it and listen to it?
Doing a music appreciation kind of night.
Yeah.
That's one of the classes I wish I would have took in high school. They had a music appreciation class where you listen to all different kinds of music and genres, and you just learn to just kind of appreciate what these artists are trying to do. Kind of a harder rock band that I wanted to get into the mix here and get your opinions on, if you guys like them or not, is Rage Against the Machine. As far as hard rock bands go, that's one of the harder ones that I kind of like.
Yeah,
I think the guy is just kind of amazing. And he was another guy, I heard you as I went to relieve myself, talk about how this guy was a West Point grad. So that's kind of impressive, right? Well, this guy went to like Harvard, the Rage Against the Machine guy. And he's got, I don't know if you've seen his ad on YouTube for the Masterclass series. You know how they got that new Masterclass website out?
If not.
And he's got, and so I listened to the whole ad, and he says, and he explains what he's going to teach you in his master class, and it's so tempting, man.
DoJoe, have you seen those masterclass ads on YouTube?
I have, yeah, and I've watched a little bit of it. Here's the thing I would say, if I could take this in a different direction. We're going after these people that paid money for their kids to go to USC and all these various schools, basically grease the skids so that they could get their kids in. And that's all kind of fucked up, right? Yeah. But how is it that the political class can get their kids into the same schools without any consternation?
So that is not Republican or Democrat. He said the political class, one's in power.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick. You can pick a Clinton, or you can pick a Romney, or you can pick a George Bush,
a McConnell,
Ryan. They all get their kids into these schools, and are they better? I think that the university system is fucked up, that they don't, it's not accurate that by name you can get into their school.
Well, I believe your son should go to school for free.
No.
No, you don't agree with that. Your eldest son should go to school for free. I believe that. You don't agree with that?
No.
How much should you pay?
Much as it takes.
Well, yeah, that's what these corrupt fuckers are doing.
Well, as a parent, you want your children to live up to their to experience their full potential, to live up to that, to experience that, to get the education they need so they can be all that they can be, kind of thing, right? I mean, what if you can't afford everything that it would take so that your son ends up at fucking NASA or something like that, Because this kid, he has that kind of potential.
Well, I don't believe that I think that strife and the fight is going to make a child or a kid or a human being they're going to get there anyway. It's like John Stockton said. He said, if you can play, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
And I think
you like to think that. I mean, that's what they said about the Jedi Knights, too, in the Star Wars. It's like, if he would have been in the planet not so far out, they would have found Anakin Skywalker, but they didn't.
They did.
They did. Good point. They did, actually. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I don't know where I was going there.
I can, in my opinion, someone like, and this is a terrible example. Okay, go with Lady Gaga. She didn't need American Idol. She was going to get found. She was going to do what she needed to do. Her inspiration and her hard work and her dedication and her talent were going to lead her to people enjoying what she did, and people immediately.
Yeah, however. Similar to how Anakin Skywalker got found, sometimes it takes some kind of freaky thing to get found, like an appearance on America's Got Talent or something like this. Like this one girl I'm listening to a lot lately is this girl, now I can't remember her name, Grace Vanderwall. She showed up on that show as a 12-year-old and just got the golden buzzer and just knocked him out, and now she's got a career, and she's, but if not for that show, would she have?
Well, a comparison, not to be argumentative, but
no.
when they brought,
please be argumentative.
When American Idol brought Prince on the stage, it completely cast a shadow upon the talent that they had on American Idol.
Sometimes that can backfire. I've seen where there's a part of the show where they bring a star with one of the contestants. Sometimes it works amazing. Other times it doesn't work at all.
At that point, you're going, as talented as these people are, they're never going to be Prince.
Agreed.
There never has been somebody.
Sometimes it's a stark contrast, and you're like, whoa. Like they brought Pat Benatar up, dude. They brought Pat Benatar. She's old. And still crushed it and made the contestant look like, oh, maybe you shouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's like John Stockton said, if you're talented and you can play, they're going to find you.
That you mentioned that a moment ago, and that has been expressed in the YouTube age, the internet age, the getting your own channel age.
Justin Bieber.
I think, yes, that would be a good example where they say now, if you have anything to publish to YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, if you have anything, just keep publishing it. Just keep putting it out there, and we will find you. If it's quality, if there's something there to see, we will come and find you.
Yeah.
And you will be found. It's the difference between now and what DoJoe's saying. Back in 1984, when John Stockton was the best fucking point guard in the NBA and nobody knew it, how do you go find that?
Oh, dudes, How
do you find that?
But you know what? On the other hand, you can be right there in front of them, a.k.a. John Stockton, right there, kicking ass every year, delivering consistent performances. John Nash got MVP of the league. Steve Nash got MVP of the league one year.
2 years in a row.
John Stockton had those same numbers 5 years in a row.
You just watched the same thing I did.
Never got MVP of the year. Fucking John Stockton, so underappreciated.
Better numbers.
Better numbers, except in one category. Please, let's be honest and consistent here. John Stockton had worse numbers in one category from Steve Nash that year. What category was that? Rebounds. instead of I think Steve Nash had 3.2 and John Stockton had 2.4.
Not a stat that's going to matter.
Everything else, points, assists, everything else, he was better.
I was blown away.
And he was never considered
not even in the voting.
MVP. Not even in the voting.
Not that I know of anyway, but yeah.
Man, that's a fun topic we just raised right there because I'm a huge John Stockton fan.
It's just so interesting that on the one hand, they're going to find you, but on the other hand, they may not even see you.
You might not ever get noticed.
Because you're not flashy.
Then you just become Ted Kaczynski.
Main Joe, realize we just had a very good guest on tonight.
Yes.
A great guest.
Great guest. Best guest we've had so far.
It might mean nothing in terms of our viewership and who visits us every week, but I don't want to stop this. I want to keep doing this no matter what happens. I'm in that realm, if I may say the word realm. I want to keep doing this stuff.
It's not a bad word, realm. It's a good word. I found out last night at our jam that our bass player lives in a different realm than I do.
Yeah,
it kind of shook me a little bit. It shook me a little bit. Yeah. But that's life, and that's the way it goes.
Bassman's in a different realm.
Yeah, it's a little bit different realm.
Why? Not the right venue.
Not right now, yeah.
I don't know. I can edit it out, but yeah, maybe it'd be a pretty 90-degree turn from where we are.
Let's wait for...
we just hit the hour mark for this podcast. Perhaps let's save it for another day.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to have to edit a fair chunk out of this, but it's been an hour.
Can we beg DoJoe to give us another outro? Can we do that?
Yeah. Let's outro it, and then we'll do our wrap-up, and then we'll get to bed.
Here comes the music.
Another outro. Okay. Well, say it loud, say it proud.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well done.